Rain tapped a restless rhythm on the metal roof of the workshop, a soft, steady drumming that matched the hum of the old space heater in the corner. The place smelled like sawdust and coffee, like pine and glue, and the faint ghost of cigarette smoke from whoever had rented the unit before Noah. He stood at the workbench with a pencil behind his ear, running a palm along the edge of a plank. The grain rose like fingerprints under his hand. A radio on the shelf above played some throwback country song low enough to ignore, until the chorus caught an old nerve. He reached for the hand-plane sleeve sliding back on his forearm. The tiny hummingbird on his wrist flashed in the cold light. Wings blurred, beak tilted upward, one line of script curling beneath its body. Keep going. The door banged open. Dad, you're not starting without me, right? Lily barreled in, cheeks pink from the chill outside backpack, half unzipped a rolled sheet of paper clutched in one hand. Her sneakers left little commas of wet on the concrete floor. You're late, Noah said, but there was a smile in it. The foreman was supposed to be here 20 minutes ago. She dropped her backpack by the wall, shoved her tangled hair out of her face, and climbed up onto the stool next to the bench. The paper made a crackling sound as she unrolled it. It's not my fault Mrs. Collins gives us like a whole book of math for a Thursday, she said. Look, it was a drawing of a treehouse. The lines were wobbly but determined. There was a ladder, a slide, a tiny balcony with stick figures leaning over the edge. One of them had a mass of curls like hers. The other had a rectangle for hair that might have been him. And this, he asked, pointing to a blob on the side. A pulley system, she said as if it was obvious. For snacks. He gave a low whistle, ambitious. She grinned, then leaned on her elbows, studying the plank in front of them. Do you think the cedar's strong enough? She asked. For like more than 2 people, just in case. In case of what? In case I end up with a sister, she said. Or a brother, or both. Then we'd need more room. The joke twisted in his chest. For a second, he saw the bed that used to be in the other small bedroom at home, stacked with unopened boxes of Anna's nursing textbooks and the baby clothes they had never used again. I don't think that's how it works, he said gently. But it could, Lily said unconvinced. Kids in my class get little brothers all the time. Like, poof, my mom's having a baby. It's not that complicated. He moved the plank closer, set the pencil in her hand. Tell you what he said. We build it strong enough for whoever comes along. Sisters, brothers, imaginary dragons. Deal. She considered this, then nodded. Deal. They bent over the wood together, his larger hand guiding hers as she marked where the cut would go. Her tongue poked out between her teeth in concentration. The pencil squeaked faintly. When she reached for the tape measure, his sleeve slipped again. Her gaze flicked to the hummingbird. Did it hurt? She asked. A little. When did you get it? A long time ago, he said. Before you. With Mom. He hesitated. The heater clicked off, leaving a moment of muffled silence under the rain. No, he said finally. Before Mom. Lily traced the outline in the air, not quite touching his skin. I like it, she said. It looks like it's moving. He swallowed. That's the point. They worked until the radio host announced the top of the hour, and Noah realized they were late for dinner. He flicked off the saw, the sudden quiet so complete his ears rang. Kitchen, he said. Now, before the dinner inspector gives us a failing grade. The dinner inspector is me, Lily said. And you've already failed. There's no dessert. In this house, he said, shutting off the lights, we always negotiate dessert. The rain followed them home. The little blue house sat halfway up a steep street in West Seattle, its paint faded where the sun hit it hardest. In the front yard, a young cedar rose from the patchy grass, thin but determined. Noah's truck grumbled into the cracked driveway headlights, brushing the tree. Inside, the kitchen light flicked on with a soft pop. The room was small and cluttered mismatched mugs, the fridge crowded with magnets from hardware stores and national parks, Lily's drawings curling at the edges. On the cabinet above the stove, a lined index card was taped slightly askew. The ink was smudged in a couple of places, as if somebody had touched it often. Tomato sauce. Reyes style, the card read across the top in loopy handwriting that used hearts instead of dots on the eyes. Lily climbed onto the counter, swinging her legs while Noah pulled a pot from the lower cabinet. Read it, she said, like she used to. He reached up, fingers brushing the edge of the card. For a second, the kitchen blurred, and he saw a different version of it. Anna laughing as she stirred the sauce, red hair pulled into a messy knot, scrubs still on from a long shift. His throat tightened. He coughed once, buying himself a breath, then read. Step 1. He said, do not panic if you burn the garlic. Just admit your mistakes and start over. Lily giggled. You did that twice last time. And we survived, he said. Miracles happen every day. He set a pan on the burner, poured oil, waited for it to shimmer. The scent of garlic rose warm and sharp. Tomato joined it, Then, oregano. The window fogged slightly from the steam. Outside, the rain tapped at the glass like someone impatient. Lily hopped down to set the table. 2 plates, 2 glasses. She opened a drawer, rummaging for the crumpled napkins printed with cartoon strawberries that Anna used to buy in bulk. "We should get more of these," she said. "They're almost gone." "Put it on the list," he answered. "There is no list," she said. "There's always a list. It's just in my head." She rolled her eyes. "That is not a real list." They ate at the small table by the window, knees bumping under the wood. Lily talked through mouthfuls about school, about how Mrs. Collins wore the same earrings every Wednesday, about how Ethan's dad had built him a treehouse that was more like a tiny mansion. "His mom says it has electricity," she said, "and a mini fridge." "We're not putting a fridge in a tree," Noah said. "Why not?" "Because then you'd live out there." She shrugged. "Doesn't sound like a problem." After dinner, she helped rinse dishes, humming something tuneless that still reminded him of Anna. It was a habit she had picked up without knowing. Up in her room, the walls were plastered with space posters, glow-in-the-dark stars, and more drawings of the treehouse. Noah tucked the blankets around her, smoothing the wrinkles like it mattered. "Can we invite people over when it's done?" she asked. "Like, actual kids, not just you." "Thanks," he said. "That hurts." "You know what I mean." He considered. They did not have many guests, not since the funeral casseroles stopped arriving. "Sure," he said. "We'll throw a big grand opening. Neighbor kids. Maybe your teacher if she can handle the excitement." Lily smiled, then grew serious. "Do you ever feel like there's supposed to be more people here?" she asked quietly. "Even when it's just us, and it's fine, it still feels like space, like a chair missing." He looked at the empty corner of the room, where the old rocking chair sat, the one he had built before Lily was born. Anna had fallen asleep there with the baby against her chest more times than he could count. "Yeah," he said softly. "Sometimes." She held out her hand. He took at the hummingbird on his wrist, glowing faintly in the night light. "Good night, Bug," he said. "Good night." He waited until her breathing evened, then slipped out, closing the door almost all the way. The house settled into its nighttime sounds, the low hum of the fridge, the occasional rattle of pipes. Noah grabbed a sweatshirt and stepped out onto the back porch. The rain had thinned to a mist. Streetlights painted the wet pavement in long streaks. Down the block, he could see the faint, comforting glow of the Harbor Hardware sign over the roof lines, its red letters blinking with tired stubbornness. In the yard, the cedar tree shifted branches, catching beads of water. He watched it for a long moment, trying to imagine the platform, the railings, the rope ladder Lily had insisted on, trying to see the future in plain lumber and wet bark. He rubbed his thumb over the hummingbird, the ink familiar under his skin. A memory tried to surface: the smell of cheap coffee, a sketch spread on a sticky diner table, a hand that was not Anna's tracing the outline of a bird in flight. He let the memory rise just enough to feel the ache of it, then pushed it back down. Inside, a kid slept who needed him in the morning. Outside, a tree waited. That was enough to think about for one night. He finished his coffee on the steps, listening to the rain soften against the roof. Saturday came out bright and cold, the kind of morning when every puddle held a piece of sky. Noah locked the front door and followed Lily down the steps. She hopped. The last one landed with a slap of sneakers on the wet sidewalk and spun toward the truck. "Treehouse mission," she said, clutching the rolled-up plans. "Infiltration of Harbor Hardware," Noah said. "High stakes." She snorted. "You are so dramatic." In the cab, she sat with her knees up, still small for the seatbelt. She watched the houses slide by the mailboxes, the glimpses of the bay between gaps in the roofs. "Do we have a real list?" she asked. "Sure," he said. "In my head." She groaned. "Your head lists forget things." "See Dardex screws brackets stain," he said. "And maybe some wire if the snack pulley idea gets funding." "The funding committee wants donuts," Lily said. "We will see what the budget can handle." The Harbor Hardware building hunched at the end of the lot, metal siding streaked from years of rain. Inside, the automatic doors sighed and let them into the hum of fluorescent lights. The place smelled like soil metal and burnt coffee. A man in a red vest glanced up from the counter. "Morning, Reyes," he said. "Back at it." "Treehouse season," Noah answered. Lily grabbed a small cart. One front wheel squeaked with every turn as she pushed it toward the lumber. Tall racks of boards rose on either side, pale and striped the air cooler in their shadow. 2x6s, she asked. 2x6s, he said. He sighted down one, tapped it with his knuckles, liked the sound it gave back. Lily copied him, knuckles on wood face, serious. "You can hear if it is strong?" she asked. "Sometimes," he said. They loaded the cart, then headed for the aisle of screws. Boxes lined the shelves in neat rows, labels repeating down the metal. Noah reached for the brand he always bought. Beside him, the cart stopped squeaking. He heard Lily's breath catch instead. What is it? He asked. That girl is staring, Lily whispered. He followed her gaze. A girl stood near the paint chips at the end of the aisle. She looked a little older than Lily, maybe 9. Navy jumper, white blouse, black shoes that shone. A dark velvet headband pressed her hair back, though a few curls had escaped around her face. She was not pretending to look at anything else. Her eyes were fixed on them, serious and curious at once. Noah gave a small nod, reflex polite. The girl did not nod back. She just kept watching. Come on, Lil, he said. Brackets then stain. Lily, who did not share his sense of personal space, left the cart and stepped out into the middle of the aisle. Hi, she called. I am Lily. My dad is building me a treehouse. Her voice carried under the buzzing lights. The girl straightened. After a second, she walked toward them, careful steps, hands clasped loosely in front of her. Hello, she said. Her voice was clear, each word shaped like she had been taught to do it. I am Amelia. Lily pulled the cart a little closer, so Noah ended up beside her. This is my dad, she said. He makes things out of wood. Noah gave a small wave. Hi. Amelia's gaze moved from Lily to him, taking them both in, as if she were fitting them into a picture in her head. Do you have a treehouse? Lily asked. Amelia shook her head. We have a yard, she said, and a garden. The trees are too small. She said it like a fact from a book. As she spoke, her eyes slid down Noah's arm. His sleeve had worked up when he lifted a box. The hummingbird on his wrist sat in plain view wings, frozen mid-beat ink dark against skin. The air seemed to thin. Lily noticed the direction of Amelia's stare and grinned. Cool, right? She said. He got it a long time ago. Noah almost covered the tattoo out of habit. He stopped his hand halfway. Amelia stepped closer just enough that he could see the tiny line between her brows. She lifted a finger, did not touch, but traced the air over the bird. My mother has that, she said softly. The same one. The box slipped in his grip. It hit the floor with a crack. Screws scattered and rolled a brief silver shower over the concrete. Lily jumped, then crouched to catch them, palms skidding on the smooth floor. Noah barely noticed. What did you say? His voice came out rough. Amelia's eyes did not leave his wrist. The hummingbird, she said, with the word. My mother has it on her shoulder. Noah's heart stumbled in his chest. Lots of people had hummingbirds. He knew that. He had told himself that every time he saw a flash of wings and ink on someone's skin. She told you that, he said. I saw it, Amelia answered. She does not show it. She was getting dressed for a party. Her hair was up. I asked. She said someone drew it with her in a diner a long time ago. She said it meant you keep going. The buzzing of the lights grew louder in his ears. Far off, a register beeped. Somewhere in the store, a child asked for candy. Beside him, Lily's hands scraped together the last few screws. She looked up at him, sensing the shift without knowing why. Before he could speak again, he heard footsteps. Sharp heel against concrete, not hurrying but not strolling either. Amelia, a woman's voice said. I asked you to stay where I could see you. The sound ran through him like an old song played through a bad speaker. Amelia turned her head. I did not go far, she said. I was talking. Noah straightened. The woman appeared at the end of the aisle, framed for a second by rows of hanging tools. Dark hair cut to her jaw. Charcoal blazer, cream blouse, black trousers. A leather bag at her shoulder. She took in the scattered screws, the two girls, the carts. Then her gaze lifted to Noah. Her face went still. Noah, Morgan said. His name felt strange on her tongue and right at the same time. He heard himself answer. Morgan. Beside him, Lily rose with a fistful of screws, eyes wide. The hum of the store seemed to pull back, as if the space between the four of them had its own weather. Morgan's eyes dropped to his wrist. The second she saw the hummingbird, something tightened in her posture, small and sharp. Amelia looked from her mother to Noah and back again, watching the way they said each other's names. Is he the one from your story? She asked. The man from the train. The one who drew the hummingbird before you left. Color drained from Morgan's face, then came back as two bright spots on her cheeks. Her fingers clenched on the strap of her bag. We are going, she said quietly. Now. Amelia frowned. But his is the same. That means he is... Amelia, Morgan said. Innan same wishes, sir. The girl's mouth closed. She stepped back until her shoulder brushed her mother's arm. Morgan looked at Noah again. For a moment, there was nothing composed about her, just fear and something like apology. I am sorry, she said. We are late. Words crowded his throat. Questions, accusations. None of them found a way out. Lily's hand closed around his elbow. Dad, she whispered. Who is that? He did not answer. Morgan turned, guiding Amelia toward the front of the store. Their footsteps faded under the buzz of the lights. At the end of the aisle, Amelia glanced back, once dark eyes wide, then disappeared around the corner. Noah stood very still in the bright humming aisle, the hummingbird on his wrist, a small, dark weight. Screws lay scattered at his feet, like pieces of something he had dropped a long time ago, and was only now realizing he needed. Noah woke before his alarm. The gray light of a Seattle morning pressed against the bedroom window. For a moment he floated in that blank place between sleep and awareness. Then the image of a small hand tracing the air over his wrist dropped into his mind. My mother has that, the same one. He stared at the ceiling until the numbers on the clock blurred. In the quiet, he could hear the house settle. A car went by on the street, tires hissing on wet asphalt. Down the hall, Lily's door was half open. He could hear the faint rustle of her rolling over the soft sigh she made when she burrowed deeper into her blankets. He clung to the sound, used it to get up. In the kitchen he started coffee on muscle memory. Filter scoops water. The machine sputtered and groaned to life. He rested his hands on the counter and bowed his head. On the cabinet above him, Anna's recipe card fluttered slightly in the draft from the heating vent. Tomato sauce, Reyes style. Her handwriting smiled down at him. Anna, he said under his breath, not expecting anything but needing to say the name. What am I supposed to do with this? Steam rose, twisting slowly. The coffee finished with a series of clicks. He poured a mug and wrapped his hands around the heat. His wrist felt strange, aware, like the ink had sunk deeper into his skin overnight. He turned his arm, watched the hummingbird catch the light. Amelia's voice echoed again. She said it meant you keep going. He had said that once across a sticky table in a diner in Portland when he was 26, and the world felt like something he could still rearrange with enough effort. He had sketched a tiny bird on a napkin while Morgan doodled next to him. Long night bus from Seattle, cheap motel gallery visit that went better than either of them had hoped. The diner had stayed open all night, tired waitress, bad coffee. Rain on the windows. His pencil had scratched the shape out, beak pointed up, wings a blur. Why a hummingbird, she had asked. Because it should not be able to fly, he had said. Tiny heart, weird wings, but it does. It just keeps going. She had watched him, then flipped to the napkin and written the words under it. Keep going. Her handwriting was cramped, impatient. Later, in a tattoo shop that smelled like antiseptic and incense, they had watched two different artists ink the same shape into their skin. She chose her shoulder. He chose his wrist where he could see it while he worked. Now, standing in his kitchen, with Lily's cereal bowls clinking in the dish rack, he felt like the kid in that diner belonged to somebody else. Lily patted in hair sticking up on one side socks, sliding a little on the floor. You are staring at your arm, she said. Weirdo. Good morning to you too, he said. She climbed onto a chair and folded herself small chin on the table. Did we get everything for the treehouse, she asked. Or did you forget something because you dropped the screws? He looked at her, startled. You remember that, huh? You dropped them hard, she said. That girl's mom was there. You got all weird. Who was she? He set his mug down. The taste of coffee had turned sour in his mouth. An old friend, he said carefully. From before me, Lily guessed. From before you, he confirmed. Like the tattoo, she said. You should stop collecting things from before me. It makes me suspicious. He smiled, grateful for the joke, even if it landed somewhere close to something real. Finish getting dressed, he said. We have lumber to tame. The day slid into its grooves. School drop-off. Xylophone sounds from the crossing guard's whistle. A wave to another parent he could not quite remember the name of. Back to the workshop. In the quiet of the shop, there was nothing to distract him but work, and his hands did not seem interested in cooperating. He measured the same board 3 times and still cut it short. He picked up the wrong grit of sandpaper. He went to drill a pilot hole and realized he had not even marked the spot. He swore softly, the word lost under the whir of the drill. At lunch, he sat on the back step with a sandwich he did not taste. His phone lay face up beside him on the concrete. No missed calls. No messages from unknown numbers that might be Morgan. He told himself he did not want one. The lie did not even make it past the first breath. His mind kept pulling him backward. Morgan in college, paint on her knuckles, laughing in his dorm room. Morgan pressed against the glass of a bus window, waving as the Greyhound pulled away. Morgan in that last motel room before New York hair damp from the shower map of Manhattan spread out over the bedspread. If this goes well, you should move, she had said, half teasing, half not. Open a little custom shop on the East Coast. My dad would have a stroke, he had replied. Reyes and Son means something to him. Reyes and Son and girlfriend, she had said, we can brainstorm branding. He had smiled and traced a finger over her shoulder, stopping on the bandage that covered fresh ink. You will call, she had said later when they were both tired, and the rain had started on the motel window. "We will not be those people who just fade out." Promise, he had said. He had meant it. 3 weeks later, her number had stopped working. Messages bounced. Social profiles went quiet. He had tried, really tried, until the silence became its own answer. Then one night, his sister had dragged him to a charity nurse fundraiser at the hospital where she worked. He had shaken hands and made small talk and found himself at a table with a nurse who had dark red hair and a laugh that made the room feel less like fluorescent and more like sun. Anna. He closed his eyes in the workshop doorway, the memory sharp and kind at the same time. He did not regret meeting Anna. He would never regret Lily. But somewhere in those overlapping shadows, there was space where something else had also lived. A possibility cut off so cleanly, he had pretended it had never existed. Now, a 9-year-old girl in a navy jumper had walked into a hardware store and looked at his wrist like she had found treasure. He checked the time, almost 3. He drove to Lily's school a little early and waited in the line of cars. Kids spilled out of the doors, backpacks bouncing. Teachers in bright vests waved parents forward. Lily came out talking to another girl, hands moving, as she described something. When she saw the truck, she peeled away, waved goodbye, and jogged the last few steps. "Can we go look at paint colors?" she asked, climbing in. "I want the inside of the treehouse to feel like being inside a cloud or an ocean. I have not decided." He started the engine. "Harbor Hardware again?" he asked. She brightened, obviously. His chest tightened. The idea of those aisles felt different than it had this morning. Still, he nodded. In the store, the air smelled the same, but he noticed every sound. The beeping forklifts, the squeak of the wheel on their cart, the murmur of the radio behind the service desk. He steered them toward the paint section. Lily went straight to the display of sample cards, hands already moving. "Ooh, this one, or we can do stripes." He tried to focus on her voice. In the corner of his vision, he caught movement, a flash of navy jumper. His heart jumped into his throat before he realized it belonged to a different kid, a different school emblem on the chest. He blew out a breath. "Dad," Lily said. "Are you even looking?" He turned back to her, forced his shoulders to relax. "I am looking at the cost of painting the inside of a tree," he said. "That is what I'm looking at. Art is priceless," she said. "Then also it is like $15 a quart. That is not priceless." They picked a soft blue for the ceiling and a warm cream for the walls. She tucked the sample cards into her hoodie pocket like tickets to a show. On the drive home, she traced the edges of them with her thumb. "Dad," she asked. "Yeah, that girl at the store, Amelia. She talks fancy. She goes to a fancy school," he said. "She looked like she wanted to say more," Lily said. Then her mom got all stiff. "Did you do something to her mom?" The directness made him grip the wheel tighter. "No," he said. Then, because that was not enough, we knew each other a long time ago. It was complicated. "That is grown up for, I do not want to talk about it," Lily said. Maybe he said. She watched him for a second, then changed the subject to a science project involving baking soda and vinegar. He let the conversation move, grateful and uneasy at once. That night, after Lily fell asleep, he sat at the kitchen table with the lights off. The glow from the street lamp outside drew a pale rectangle on the floor. His phone lay in front of him. He did not have Morgan's number. The card she had pressed into his hand years ago was long gone. People like her did not stay in the same job for a decade. They moved, climbed, traded titles and cities. Unless they inherited something that did not let them run. He picked up his phone and opened a browser anyway. His thumbs hovered over the keyboard. Morgan Hale. He typed it, then erased it. The hummingbird on his wrist felt heavier the longer he sat there. If Amelia was his, if those 9 years lined up, then every birthday, every scraped knee, every first word had happened without him. The thought made him want to punch something, or break down. He did neither. Instead, he pushed back from the table and went to the window. Out in the dark yard, the cedar tree stood like a thin shadow against the lighter sky. He saw Lily there in daylight mud on her jeans hair wild, showing another kid how to climb. He saw 2 sets of hands reaching for the same rung. The image hit him so hard he had to close his eyes. Behind his eyelids, he saw Amelia in the aisle, hand hovering over his wrist. "She has that. My mother has that." The rain started again, a fine mist at first, then steadier. It tapped against the glass, familiar and constant. He looked down at his arm, at the small bird that was never just a bird. For years, it had been a reminder of a version of himself that had disappeared. Now it felt like something else. A thread. A marker left in the world that someone else had followed. He rested his forehead against the cool window pane. Whether he wanted it or not, the past had stepped into the fluorescent light of a hardware store and looked him in the eye. He knew one thing with sudden stubborn clarity. Whatever this was, he could not pretend he had not heard that small, careful voice. The sky cleared by Saturday, a pale blue washed clean by days of rain. The air still carried a chill, but in the weak sunshine, people came out of their houses like they had been waiting under covers for a signal. Farmer's Market, Lily asked, cereal spoon hovering. Please say yes. The peaches are back, Mrs. Parker said. It is April, Noah said. There are no peaches in April. Fine then the tomatoes, she said. And the cinnamon rolls. You forgot the cinnamon rolls last time. He had forgotten them because he had left early, because the crowd and the noise have felt like too much. Today the idea of staying home felt worse. Finish eating, he said. We will go. The West Seattle market stretched along a closed-off street in the junction tents, lined up like teeth. There were crates of apples, glass jars of honey, paper cups of coffee steaming in cold hands. A busker played guitar near the corner voice, lost under the murmur of people. Noah parked a block away, and they walked, Lily skipping ahead, her knit cap slightly crooked on her head. Can we get the sauce tomatoes, she asked, the ones that do not make you swear when you peel them? That is a very specific variety, he said. It is the variety Mom liked, she replied. You said so. He thought about Anna's face at the market, the way she had once scolded a vendor for trying to sell her soft tomatoes at firm prices. He smiled. Then yes, he said, we find those. They moved from stall to stall. Lily sampled a slice of apple and pronounced it good enough. A baker they knew slipped an extra cookie into their bag. The air smelled like yeast and damp pavement basil and oranges. At the far end of the street, under a white tent, a display of heirloom tomatoes glowed in shades of red and gold. A handwritten sign said, Soon Gold Brandywine Roma. Lily made a beeline for it. These, she announced, pointing. These are the ones. Check for bruises, Inspector Noah said. She started sorting, fingers deft and sure. He reached for a paper bag, then froze. Morgan stood on the other side of the table, one hand cradling a tomato, the other resting on the edge of the crate. Her hair was pulled back into a low knot, a few strands escaping by her ears. She wore jeans and a white t-shirt under a loose gray cardigan. No blazer, no heels, just sneakers scuffed at the toes. For a second, she did not see him. She was squinting at the sign, lips moving as she calculated something. Then her eyes lifted. They met his across the mountain of tomatoes. Noah's grip tightened on the empty bag. He had imagined this in a dozen ways since the hardware store. None of those imagined versions felt like this, with someone's kid laughing nearby and a guy selling microgreens calling out prices. Morgan inhaled, slow and visible. Her jaw worked once, like she was deciding which version of herself to put on. He glanced at Lily, who was busy rejecting a tomato with a blemish. Go pick out a cinnamon roll, he told her. Biggest one you can find. Use your best judgment. Her eyes lit up. Really? Consider it payment for your tomato expertise. She darted off, braid bouncing. When she was out of earshot, he stepped closer to the table. Morgan, he said. She looked down at the tomato in her hand, as if the fruit might offer a script. We are in the same city, she said. I suppose this was statistically likely. I do not think statisticians account for hummingbird tattoos and 9-year-olds, he replied. Her mouth twitched once at the edge, then flattened. I am not doing this here, she said quietly. Doing what he asked. Acknowledging that a little girl told me her mother has my tattoo, her eyes snapped to his. Keep your voice down, she said. Around them, people moved with canvas bags and reusable coffee cups, not paying attention. The busker shifted into another song. Somewhere a child laughed. I tried, he said. I tried to let it go. I cannot. Then that is your problem, she said. Not mine. He stared at her. The words hit like cold water and still felt off, like they did not quite fit her mouth. Is she mine? He asked. There it was out loud. Not in his kitchen, not in the workshop, not circling sleepless in his head. Between them, in the weak spring light, Morgan's fingers tightened around the tomato until the skin dimpled. No, she said, she is not. Her tone was flat. Her eyes were not. 9 years, the timing sat there like an unwelcome guest. Look at me, he said. She did. It cost her something. She knew about the word he said, not just the bird. She knew what it meant. You never told anyone that. You would not even tell my sister what it said. That does not mean anything, she replied too quickly. It means you told her stories, he said, about someone who drew a hummingbird in a diner. That is what she said, right? She asked if I was the man from the story. Color rose on Morgan's throat, high and sharp. You always were good at putting things together, she said. It made you very annoying. Do not joke, he said. This is not the thing we joke about. For a second, her face softened, the mask slipping. He saw tiredness there, deep and old. You have your life, she said. You have your daughter. You have enough to carry. That is not an answer. She opened her mouth, then shut it again. The hand holding the tomato trembled just slightly. "You left," he said. "You cut me off. I thought you were dead or something. I spent months sending messages into a void. Then you vanished from everything. And now there is a girl who looks at my arm like it belongs to her, and you expect me to walk away from that. I am asking you to leave it," she said, voice low, "for everyone's sake." Something in him flared. "Everyone's," he repeated. "That is rich. Did anyone ask me if I wanted to be included in everyone?" Her eyes flashed. "You think this has been easy?" she said. "You think I get some kind of thrill out of this?" A man next to them cleared his throat impatiently, wanting to reach the tomatoes. Noah stepped aside half an inch. Morgan moved her hand, then seemed to remember she was still holding one. He softened his voice. "Morgan," he said, "if there is even a chance she is mine, I need to know. I cannot pretend I did not hear what she said. I cannot just go back to sanding boards like none of this happened." For a long moment, she just stood there. The noise of the market filled the space around them, the white tent overhead flapping slightly in the breeze. Then she exhaled. "She is not yours," she said again, but the fight had gone out of the words. And even if she were, what difference would it make now? "It would make all the difference," he said. A familiar voice cut through. "Dad," Lily called, breathless. "They have chocolate chip and cinnamon and some weird one with cardamom. I do not know what that is, but it smells like Christmas, and guess what?" Noah closed his eyes briefly. He turned. Lily stood there with a paper bag in each hand, cheeks flushed from excitement. Next to her, holding another bag, was Amelia. The girls were already talking over each other. "We saw each other at the bakery line," Lily said. "She remembers you from the store." "They were out of the good rolls," Amelia said. "So, the lady said she would bake more, and we had to wait anyway, and Lily said her dad builds tree houses." Lily shoved one bag at him, nearly tearing it. "Dad, can Amelia come over?" she asked. "Just for a little while. We need to test the structural integrity of the treehouse stairs. It is a two-kid job." Amelia looked up at Morgan. Her eyes were hopeful, but there was caution under it, like she was used to hearing no. "I will be very careful," she said. "I will not climb higher than the railings. I will not sue if I fall." "Please," Lily added. "We have helmets." Noah glanced at Morgan. She looked from Amelia to Lily to him. The fight that had been in her posture a moment ago seemed to fold inward. A crease appeared between her brows. Her lips parted, then pressed together again. "1 hour," she said finally. "Then Nora picks you up." Amelia's face lit. "Thank you," she said, quiet but fierce. Lily did a small bounce in place, then grabbed Amelia's hand, as if the deal might evaporate if they did not move. "Come on," she said. "You have to see the tree. It is not very big yet, but it is trying." Morgan reached into her bag and fished out a phone. "I will text Nora the address," that she said to Noah, keeping her eyes on the screen. "Unless you do not want—" He swallowed. "It is fine," he said. "Text her." She rattled off the address without needing to check. Something about that made his chest hurt. The drive back to his house felt oddly crowded, even though there were only 2 kids in the back seat. They talked the entire way. "What is your favorite subject?" Lily asked. "Math," Amelia said. "And music." "Mine is art," Lily said. "And lunch." Amelia laughed. It was a quick surprise sound, like she was not used to hearing her own amusement out loud. Noah watched them in the rearview mirror at a stoplight. Their heads leaned toward each other. 2 different shades of hair, 2 sets of eyes, both bright. He pulled into the driveway. The cedar tree in the yard looked smaller than he remembered, or maybe it was the presence of 3 bodies near it that changed the scale. The girls spilled out of the truck bags of pastries crumpled in their hands. "This is it?" Amelia asked. Lily nodded. "It is a starter tree. It has dreams." Noah unlocked the front door. The familiar weight of the key turning in the lock felt strange with an extra pair of feet behind him. Inside the house held its usual smell of coffee and tomato and wood dust. Lily kicked off her shoes in the hall. Amelia paused and carefully lined hers up next to them, as if uncertain of the rules. "You can just drop them," Lily said. "Dad pretends to care, but he really does not." "I heard that," Noah said. He watched as Amelia stepped fully into the space. Her gaze skimmed over the framed photos on the wall, the drawings on the fridge, the scuffed baseboards. She took it all in with the focused attention of someone cataloging a new world. "Treehouse," Lily said, tugging her sleeve. "Come on." They headed for the back door, voices overlapping. Noah followed them out onto the porch and into the yard. The skeleton of the treehouse clung to the cedar boards, bolted to the trunk railing, half-finished ladder, just a rough suggestion. Lily tilted her face up to it with pride. Amelia stood at her side, eyes wide. "It is perfect," Amelia said. Noah watched the 2 girls stand under the unfinished platform. Small figures beneath the beginnings of something that was not quite a house and not quite a fort. For a moment, he did not think about timing or paperwork or the mess that lay between him and the woman at the market. For a moment, all he saw were two kids in his yard, looking at something he had started, and they would help finish. Noah fetched the shorter ladder from the side of the house, the one he used for gutters, and leaned it against the cedar. The boards he had already secured formed a rough platform a few feet above his head. "Safety briefing," he said. Lily groaned. "Dad, no running, no jumping off the side feet. Stay under hands on rails. We check every board before you step on it." He looked at Amelia. "That goes double for guests." She nodded solemnly, hands clasped in front of her. "I understand," she said. Lily was already halfway up the ladder before he finished. She knew its wobble where it shifted the step that creaked. She moved like the tree was an old friend. Amelia put a foot on the first rung, then paused. Her hand tightened on the side rail. "You do not have to go up yet," Noah said. "You can look from the ground until you feel it." Amelia shook her head and set her jaw. There was something familiar in that small motion. "No," she said, "I want to see." She climbed slower than Lily, eyes on her feet, halls of breath measured. When she reached the half-finished platform, Lily reached a hand down and pulled her the last step. From below, Noah watched two sets of sneakers appear on the boards. The wood flexed a little. He checked the bolts again just for something to do with his hands. "How is it he called?" There was a pause, then Lily's voice. "It is so cool," she said. "You can see the whole neighborhood, kind of. Come up." "No adults," Amelia added. She said no adults in the original plan. Noah laughed. "I do not remember approving that clause." "You did," Lily called, in spirit. He climbed the ladder anyway, more to make sure they understood where not to step than to claim space. On the platform, the yard spread below them, patchy grass, faded fence, the blue of the house. Beyond that, roofs and wires and the pale line of the bay. Amelia stood in the middle, hands slightly out as if testing balance on a boat. Her eyes were wide, cheeks pink. "It feels different up here," she said quietly. "How?" Lily asked. "Like the ground is secret," she said. Lily nodded as if that made perfect sense. Noah knelt near the edge, checked the brace on one of the corner posts. "All right," he said. "If you two are helping, you start with nails. No one touches the circular saw." He climbed back down, handed up a small hammer and a handful of nails, then positioned himself where he could see their feet and the board they were working on. Lily set a nail and whacked at it with loud enthusiasm. It bent on the second hit. "That nail was weak," she announced. "Or the hammer was wild," Noah said. Amelia took one. She held the hammer in a precise grip, too close to the head at first. He called up a correction. She adjusted, then tapped the nail in with small controlled strikes. Her face changed when she focused. Her mouth pressed into a thin line. A faint vertical crease appeared between her brows. After a few taps, she bit the inside of her cheek the same way he did when a joint needed care. He watched a strange mix of pride and dread coiling under his ribs. "You have done this before," Lily said. "Not with a real hammer," Amelia replied. "We use toy tools at school for projects. They are plastic." "Plastic is fake," Lily said. "This is better." Amelia smiled. It was small and quick, but it reached her eyes. They worked like that for a while. Lily talked almost non-stop, filling the air with ideas about rope ladders and secret compartments. Amelia asked questions that cut straight to structure. "If you put too much weight on this side, will it tip? How deep do the posts go into the ground? What is the load limit?" "Why do you know what a load limit is?" Lily demanded. "I read manuals," Amelia said. "Also the safety signs at playgrounds." "That is extremely nerdy," Lily said. "I respect it." Sawdust clung to their socks, dusted Amelia's dark tights. Sun filtered through the branches, catching in the fine threads of her headband. After a while, Noah called a break.
"Pastry time," he said.
They came down, cheeks flushed, hair messy. Inside, he put the paper bags on the kitchen table. The cinnamon rolls were still warm, frosting smeared inside the waxed paper. Amelia hovered at the table's edge. "You can sit," he said. She pulled out a chair, then waited until Lily sat before she did. "Do you want milk?" he asked. "Yes, please," she said. He poured 3 glasses. Lily had already taken a bite, frosting at the corner of her mouth. "This is the best one," she said, mouth full. "Amelia, you have to try the middle. The middle is where the magic is." Amelia picked up her roll with careful fingers. Her posture stayed straight even in a crooked kitchen chair. On the wall next to the table, a framed photo showed Anna holding a baby with a full head of dark hair. They were on this same porch, sunlight catching Anna's freckles. Noah was behind the camera. You could tell from the way Anna was looking toward him, something soft and amused in her eyes. Amelia noticed the photo. Her gaze lingered on it between bites. Is that Lily? She asked. That is me, Lily said proudly. I was cute. I mean, I am still cute, but I was extra cute. And your mother, Amelia asked. The question hung there. Lily glanced at Noah, spoon paused halfway to her mouth. He dried his hands on a dish towel. She died, he said, a while ago. I am sorry, Amelia said. She did not fumble the words. She placed them gently. Me too, Lily said, more practical. But we are okay. We have Dad, and the treehouse, and pizza nights. The corners of Amelia's mouth turned down just a flicker. It is just the two of you, she asked. Yeah, Lily said. Why? Amelia shrugged. I was wondering. It seems quiet. It is not that quiet, Lily said. Dad snores. I do not snore, Noah said. Lies, Lily replied. Amelia smiled again. It faded as she glanced around the kitchen, taking in the clutter, the magnets, the recipe card on the cabinet. My house is quiet, she said, but a different kind. What kind? Lily asked. The kind where you are not supposed to make a mess, Amelia said. And everything echoes. There was no bitterness in it, just description. You can make a mess here, Lily said. Dad says mess means life is happening. I said that once, Noah said. Now it has become policy, apparently. Amelia traced a finger along a knot in the tabletop. I like it here, she said softly. He felt that more than he expected. Time slipped. The hour they had been given thinned out faster than he wanted. At some point, the clock on the stove read 3, then 3:20. An engine sounded outside, low and smooth, tires on gravel. Noah went to the front window. A black SUV idled at the curb, glossy in the pale light. A woman in her 60s got out from the driver's seat, silver hair pinned into a twist, coat that looked more like it belonged in an office than on this street. She had the bearing of someone who did not get lost and did not need directions. He opened the door before she knocked. Mr. Reyes, she said. Her voice was crisp, vowels precise. I am Nora, Amelia's nanny. She did not offer a hand. Her eyes flicked past him into the hallway, registering shoes, backpacks, the faint ring of Lily's laughter from the yard. Come in, he said. I will wait here, she said. She knows not to keep me. Behind him, Lily's voice rose. Amelia, your ride is here. That is what Dad says. He says it to me even when it is just the school bus. The two girls tumbled into the entryway. Amelia saw Nora and straightened, smoothing her sweater, as if pulling on invisible armor. Hi, Nora, she said. This is Lily, and Mr. Reyes. We met, Nora said. Her eyes moved over Lily with a quick assessing sweep. For Amelia, her gaze softened. Did you enjoy yourself? She asked. Yes, Amelia said. We worked on the treehouse. It is very structurally sound. That is good to hear, Nora said. We have your music lesson at 4. Amelia's shoulders dipped just a fraction. Yes, she said. I remember. Lily stepped closer. Can you come back? She asked. We have not even started the snack pulley, and we need to test if the floor can hold maximum candy load. Amelia looked between Lily and Noah, eyes bright and uncertain. Can I? She asked Nora. That is for your mother to decide, Nora said. She looked at Noah. Mrs. Hale will contact you if she feels it is appropriate to arrange another visit. The words were polite. The tone carried a warning tucked inside. Of course, Noah said. Amelia shifted her weight. Then, without seeming to plan it, she threw her arms around Lily. I like your house, she whispered. And your dad. Lily hugged back fierce and quick. I like you too, she said. You seem like you need a treehouse. Amelia laughed again, a small burst. Nora cleared her throat lightly. Time, Amelia, she said. Is a room ready and being dig just see you species feet. The girl pulled away, picked up her shoes, and stepped into them. She gave Noah one last look, like she was trying to memorize his face, then followed Nora out. The door closed on the soft murmur of their voices and the quiet purr of the SUV pulling away. For a few seconds, the house felt hollow. Lily wandered back into the kitchen, sank into a chair, and reached for the last bit of her cinnamon roll. She is cool, she said. Different but cool. She talks like a book, and she likes load limits. High press 7. She seemed lonely, Lily added, more thoughtful. Like our house is the first place she got to be messy. He leaned on the counter, palms flat against the cool laminate. Yeah, he said, I saw that. Lily chewed, then tilted her head. Are we going to see her again? She asked. I hope so, he said. The honesty in it surprised him. Lily nodded, accepting that answer for now. She slid off the chair. Can we work on the ladder? She asked. If I fall, I will sue. You have no case, he said. Finish your milk. Later, after he had dropped her at his sister Carla's apartment for a movie night, with cousins, after he had sat in the parked truck longer than necessary, staring at the steering wheel. Noah turned the key again. The address Morgan had given him sat in his pocket on a folded receipt. He had looked at it 3 times, each time half hoping the ink might have faded. It had not. The Hale property sat on a quiet street near the lake where the houses were set back behind stone walls and landscaped hedges. The kind of neighborhood where the trees were older than most families and the sidewalks were more suggestion than necessity. A discreet sign with a street number marked the entrance. A gate of dark metal bars blocked the drive. There was no intercom button, just a small camera eye and a keypad. He pulled up and barely had time to wonder if he should text before the gate began to slide open. It moved smoothly, no squeal, no reluctance. He drove in. The drive curved between manicured lawns and tidy beds of ornamental grasses. Minimalist sculptures dotted the space. The house came into view slowly, all glass and concrete and steel. It looked less like a place where someone lived and more like a place that appeared in magazines. He parked near the front steps. For a moment, he just sat, fingers curled on the steering wheel. Then he got out. The door opened before he reached it. Morgan stood there in bare feet, jeans, and an oversized navy sweater. Her hair was down, falling around her shoulders. Without the makeup and the sharp lines of work clothes, she looked younger and older at once. "You found it," she said. "There was a gate," he replied. "Hard to miss." She stepped back to let him in. The foyer opened into a high-ceilinged space flooded with soft light, even this late in the day. Artwork hung on the walls. Some pieces he recognized from local galleries, some he did not. Every object seemed placed with intention. His boots felt too loud on the polished floor. "Where is Amelia?" he asked. "Upstairs," Morgan said. "Reading. Nora put her to bed early. She was tired." He nodded. The idea of the girl tucked into a bed somewhere above them sent a brief ache through his chest. "Do you want something to drink?" Morgan asked. "Tea, coffee, something stronger." "Water is fine," he said. She disappeared into a side room and came back with 2 glasses, ice clinking. Her hand shook slightly as she handed him one. "Come on," she said. "We should talk where we can sit." She led him down a short hall into a study that looked more lived in than the rest of the house. Books filled the shelves. Not just art books, but novels, biographies, things with cracked spines. A large desk sat near the window, papers stacked in tidy piles. A small lamp cast an amber pool of light. He sat on the edge of a leather chair. The cushion gave under his weight with a soft sigh. Morgan took the couch opposite, but she did not lean back. She perched on the front-edge glass held in both hands. For a few seconds neither of them spoke, the quiet stretch not empty but crowded. Noah broke it. "Is she mine?" he asked. Morgan closed her eyes. Her fingers tightened on the glass until the ice chimed. "We need to start earlier than that," she said, "or none of this will make sense." She set the glass on the table and stood pacing once in front of the window before stopping with her back to it. The light framed her in a faint outline. "When I left for New York," she began, "I thought I knew what I was doing." Her voice sounded different here, less controlled, rougher around the edges. Noah sat very still, the glass of water forgotten in his hand, and waited for her to keep going. "When I left for New York, Morgan said I thought I knew what I was doing." She sat back down, then leaned forward again, elbows on her knees like her body could not settle. "I had the gallery job," she went on. "The one we kept talking about like it was a rumor. I had this tiny apartment over a dry cleaner that smelled like steam and chemicals all the time. I had a mattress on the floor, a hot plate, and 3 pairs of jeans in rotation. It was ridiculous. I loved it." She gave a short breath of a laugh that did not reach her eyes. "I missed you," she said. "Every day. I just decided missing you was the cost of all the things I thought I was supposed to build." Noah watched her hands. They worried the hem of her sweater, twisted the knit into a tight rope. 3 weeks after I got there, she said I could not keep food down. I thought it was nerves. New job, new city, all of that. I kept powering through. You know me." He did. He remembered her pulling all-nighters with paint in her hair and refusing to admit she was tired. "Then I started getting dizzy at the gallery," she said. "My boss told me to go home. On the way, I stopped at one of those 24-hour pharmacies on the corner. I bought a box of tests. I did not even wait to get home. I used their bathroom. Flickering light, dirty floor, someone had written, 'Call me,' on the door with a number underneath." Her mouth twisted to the side. "I thought it would be negative," she said. "I convinced myself it would be. I was not that careless, I thought. We were not that careless." She rubbed her palms on her jeans like she could wipe off the memory. When the lines showed up, she said, "I sat on that disgusting tile for a long time. People came and went. The automatic air freshener sprayed fake citrus over my head every few minutes. I just sat there and stared at the stick. Noah felt his own breathing slow to match hers. I thought about calling you, she said. I pulled my phone out at least 10 times. I started typing your number. My thumb hovered over the call button, and every time something in me froze. Why, he asked. She gave him a look that was hard to read. Fear, pride, stupidity, she said. Take your pick. She got up again like sitting still was too much and crossed to the bookshelf. Her fingers ran along the spines without really seeing them. I did what I do when I panic, she said. I researched. I wanted to hear your voice, but instead I opened my laptop. She glanced at him over her shoulder. You were not very hard to find, she said. You never have been. Reyes and Son has a website. Your sister posts a lot of photos. You had tagged ones you were in. I clicked. She swallowed. And there you were, she said. At that Italian place in Georgetown with the checkered tablecloths. You were at the end of the table, holding up a ring box. Anna was next to you with her hands over her mouth. Everyone was smiling. Your sister wrote something about her baby brother getting engaged. Silence pushed into the room between her words. Noah saw it in his mind anyway that night in fuzzy detail. He had forgotten his phone on the table. Someone else had grabbed it to take the picture. Anna's eyes had been wet from laughing and from saying yes. He had liked that photo. It had felt like proof that his life was moving again. I scrolled, Morgan said. There were more. You and Anna at some park at a barbecue with your family, at the shop with a cake that said congrats and sawdust on the floor. She looked back at the window. You looked happy, she said, and not the kind of happy where you are bracing for when it all falls apart. You looked settled. He lowered his eyes. A tightness built behind them. I thought about calling anyway, she said. I thought about saying, hey, funny story, I am pregnant. I imagined all the ways it could go. You leaving her, you staying and trying to split yourself in half. You resenting me every time you had to drive across town. Your family hating me. Her hating me. That kid in my hallucination growing up in the middle of a war zone I created. She shook her head. I am a coward, she said. I told myself I was being noble, but it was cowardice dressed up as sacrifice. I did not want to be the villain in your story. You do not get to decide who the villain is, he said quietly. No, she said, I know that now. She came back to the couch and sat this time leaning back, staring at the ceiling. So, I made a decision, she said. I told myself you were starting a family. I was starting a different one. Parallel lines. No intersection. Except there was one, he said. Her eyes met his. Yes, she said. Her. She let the words sit there for a breath. I found an obstetrician 2 subway stops from the gallery, she said. I went to appointments alone. I put my mother's maiden name on forms. I avoided photographers at events so there would be no bump to explain. At work, I wore loose clothes and said I was stressed when I looked tired. She smiled small and crooked. During all that, I kept waiting for the universe to prove me wrong, she said. I thought maybe you would call, say you were miserable, that you had made a mistake. That would have given me an excuse to tell you everything. It never happened. Carla posted about wedding plans. I read it all. Noah let out a breath he had been holding. When I was 6 months along, she continued, my father had a stroke. It was sudden. He went into the hospital and never really came out again, not as himself. 3 months later, he died. She said it plainly, but her hands had gone still. You knew my parents had money, she said. You joked about it sometimes. The trust fund kid playing artsy, I told you maybe a quarter of the truth. The Hale Foundation is bigger than you thought. It does not just fund galleries. It owns things. Buildings, land, investments my grandfather made when a soda cost a nickel. She lifted a shoulder. When he died, my father became chairman. When my father died, I did. Her eyes went to the shelves, to a row of black binders that looked different from the books, more severe. I found out in a lawyer's office, she said. Paneling bad paintings, you know the type. They slid documents across the table and said words like fiduciary and successor. They talked about my duty. Then someone asked if I had dependents. She laughed once without humor. I was 8 months pregnant, she said. It felt like the whole room tilted. Noah rubbed his face with one hand. You could have called me then, he said. I would have come. I would have grabbed the first flight out. Yes, she said, you would have. That was part of the problem. He frowned. What does that even mean? It means I saw the fork in the road, she said. One way I call you, you show up. You probably leave Anna, who loves you, who you are supposed to marry. My family brings in lawyers. Yours does too. We argue about custody and prenups and financial disclosures. Every step of your life gets documented and examined by people whose job is to protect money, not people. She picked up her glass again and turned it in her hands, watching the ice spin. In the other version, she said, I do not call. You marry Anna. You open the shop like you always planned. You have a kid with someone who is actually good at staying. I raise this baby knowing I will have to explain some things one day. I tell myself I can handle that part. Her throat moved as she swallowed. I chose door number 2, she said. I told myself I was taking one for the team. The team, he repeated, which did not include me, apparently. It included you so much it hurt, she said sharply. That was the point. If I did not care, leaving you out would have been easy. He sat back, the leather creaking under his shoulders. So, you let me walk into a marriage, he said, and into fatherhood without telling me I already was a father. I watched you walk into a life that was not built on a crash, she said. I watched you from a distance and I told myself it was better. His voice rose before he could pull it back. You watched me, he said. From where? She flinched. At first she said online. Carla posts everything. Family barbecues, baby showers, hospital hallways. I saw Anna holding Lily in that rocking chair on your porch, her hair all over the place, your hand on the back of her neck. I saw you on the floor with blocks and a toddler who kept stealing your tape measure. You looked exhausted and happy. She took a breath. I stopped checking after a while, she said. It was like picking at a scab. I would tell myself I was just going to peak, and then I could not stop, and every time it was like losing you again. He put his elbows on his knees and let his hands hang between them. The image of Anna in the rocking chair, Lily's fist tangled in her hair, slid over the memory of Morgan in a different chair, in a different city, alone in a lawyer's office. What about her, he asked. Amelia. Where was she while you were watching my life from behind a screen? In my arms, she said, on my chest, screaming her head off. She did not like sleep at first, or quiet, or being put down. A softness crept into her tone when she said it, a kind of tired affection. She came early, she said. There was a thunderstorm. Classic drama. I took a cab to the hospital with one of my father's old umbrellas with a broken rib. It flipped inside out twice before I even got in the car. She smiled at the memory. Labor was long, she said, boring in between the parts where it felt like I was being ripped in half. I remember a nurse saying I had a good scream. Theater training, I told her. He almost laughed. The picture of Morgan bargaining with nurses blew into his mind like a gust. When she finally came, Morgan said she came out with her fist up, like she was objecting on principle, dark hair plastered to her head, eyes squeezed shut. She was so small and so loud. They put her on my chest and she quieted immediately. I keep thinking about that moment, that instant quiet like she had found the right frequency. Her gaze unfocused for a second. I named her Amelia, she said, after Amelia Earhart, someone who took off even when everyone said it was not a good idea. Noah swallowed against the tightness in his throat. Did you tell anyone about me, he asked. She shook her head. Not at first, she said. Officially, her birth certificate said unknown father. I used a different last name in the hospital. I was paranoid. I thought if I left any real information, someone from my family's circle would connect dots and try to make a fuss about inheritance and legitimacy and all those lovely archaic words. And later he pressed. Later, she said, when she was 4, she started asking. The other kids at school have pictures, drawings, stories. She came home one day and asked why she did not have any. Morgan's voice thinned. I told her, she said, that her father was a good man who did not know she existed, that I had made choices that meant he could not be here. I told her he liked to build things and had kind hands. I told her if he ever knew about her, he would care. I told her the hummingbird was from him. Her eyes filled. She blinked hard. She asked if he was real, Morgan said. I said yes. She asked if he missed her. I said he would if he knew. Children ask questions in such straight lines. You run out of curves to dodge in. She looked down at her own shoulder, where the hummingbird was hidden by the sweater. She loves that bird, she said. She used to draw it in the margins of her homework. Little lines where the wings should be like it is buzzing. When she saw yours at the hardware store, her voice broke. It was like watching a wish come true in real time, she whispered, and watching my whole lie fall apart. Noah sat very still. The edges of his anger had worn down under the weight of her words, but what was left was heavier. So, you never thought, he said quietly, that maybe the person you were protecting did not want that kind of protection? I thought it every day, she said. I thought it so loudly I could not sleep sometimes. By the time Anna died, I had run so far down that path, it felt impossible to turn around. You were grieving. You were holding a little girl who had just lost her mother. The idea of showing up with another child and saying, "Surprise, look what I have been hiding," felt like walking into a house on fire with a can of gasoline. He closed his eyes. The image made uncomfortable sense. "So I stayed away," she said. "I told myself it was too late, that I had made my choice and you had yours. Then you walked into Harbor Hardware with Lily, and Amelia saw your wrist, and my clever little parallel lines stopped being parallel." The room was quiet except for the faint hum of the refrigerator somewhere down the hall and the muted whoosh of a car passing outside. Noah opened his eyes. "You took 9 years from me," he said. His voice was soft, but it did not shake. "You took first steps and first words and first days of school. You took the chance for me to be there when she was sick, to carry her when she fell asleep in the car. You decided I could not handle it. You decided for all of us." "Yes," Morgan said, "I did." She did not try to defend it this time. She just looked at him face bare. "I am sorry," she said. The words were simple, nothing special, but they sounded like they had been waiting a long time to get out. "I am sorry in ways I do not have vocabulary for. I know that does not fix anything." He looked at the glass in his hand, at the way his fingers had left prints on the condensation. "Do you regret it?" he asked. "Really regret it? Not just because you got caught." She did not hesitate. "I regret the way I did it," she said. "I regret shutting you out completely. I regret underestimating you. I do not regret that you got those years with Anna and Lily without having to split yourself between coasts and courtrooms. That part, if I am honest, I would probably choose again." He did not know what to do with that. It felt terrible, and in a warped way, understandable. He thought of Anna laughing in the kitchen flower on her cheek. He thought of Lily climbing into his lap when she was 3, declaring his beard scratchy, but good. He thought of trying to add another invisible orbit to that already full sky. His chest ached. "Morgan," he said finally, "I cannot go back and be there when she is born. I cannot undo the last 9 years. But I can be here now. I can be her father now if you let me." Tears slipped down her cheeks without drama. "She already thinks you are," she said. "The stories, the tattoo. You are the best myth I have ever created." "That is the problem," he said. "I do not want to be a myth." She laughed through the tears, a small, startled sound. "No," she said, "you never were good at that." He leaned forward, elbows on his knees again. "So what do we do?" he asked. She looked toward the ceiling, then back at him. "We tell the truth," she said quietly. "To her. To Lily. Carefully. Not tomorrow, not like ripping a bandage off for our own relief, but soon, before they get old enough to find the cracks themselves." He nodded slowly. "We do it together," he said. "Not as a story about a man far away and not as a confession you have to carry alone." Something eased in her shoulders at the word together. "She will be angry with me," Morgan said. Sejit said, "for not telling her sooner." "She might be angry with me too," he said. "For not being there, that is fair." Morgan studied his face for a long moment. "You still want in," she said. It was not a question. He thought of Amelia on his kitchen chair, tracing a knot in the table, of her feet on the half-finished platform of the treehouse, of the way she had hugged Lily at the door like she was already losing something she had just found. "Yes," he said simply. She nodded like she had been waiting for that single word. "Then we figure it out," she said. "Without lawyers first, if we can help it. Without weaponizing anyone, just 2 people who made a mess trying to clean it up before it spreads." He let out a breath he did not know he had been holding. Upstairs, faint through the ceiling, came the muffled sound of a drawer closing, a small thud like a book being set on a nightstand, the ordinary noise of a child getting ready for sleep. Noah looked up instinctively toward where he guessed her room might be. "Is Amelia really 9?" he asked. "Oh, 9.5, Morgan said. "Her birthday is in March. She insists the half matters. 19 days after his anniversary." The math lined up with a clarity that sent a shiver through him. "That is 9 birthdays," he said. "I have videos," she said. "Too many. I can show you if you want." He swallowed past the lump in his throat. "I want," he said. She crossed to the desk, picked up her phone, and came back to sit beside him on the couch for the first time that evening. The screen lit her face from below as she scrolled. "Here," she said, "day 1. On the tiny screen, a newborn wrapped in hospital blankets scrunched her face and flailed a fist. A shaky voice behind the camera laughed softly. "Hi," that younger version of Morgan whispered. "It is just us, kid. We will figure it out." The room around them fell away for a moment as he watched. Time collapsed into pixels, into grainy movements, into the sound of a baby's first cries. He did not know how long they sat like that, watching fragments of 9 years unfold in little rectangles of light. Amelia in a high chair smearing banana on her cheeks. Amelia at 3 conducting an invisible orchestra with a wooden spoon. Amelia at 5 sitting cross-legged in a too big t-shirt, frowning at a picture book with a hummingbird on the cover. At some point, the phone's battery warning flashed. Morgan set it down with a sigh. "That is enough for now," she said. "You will overdose." He wiped his face with the heel of his hand and found it damp. "I have a lot to catch up on," he said. "Yes," she replied. "You do." They sat in tired silence for a while. Finally, Noah stood. His legs felt stiff. "I should go," he said. "Lily will be home." Morgan rose too, walked him to the door. In the doorway he paused. "Thank you," he said, "for showing me, for telling me." She nodded. "Thank you for not walking out halfway through," she said. He stepped out into the cool night. The air smelled like wet earth and lake water. Behind him, the house glowed soft through the windows. He glanced up once toward where a small shadow moved across a rectangle of light on the 3rd floor. Then he walked back down the drive past the sculptures and the silent gate, carrying a new weight with him that felt heavy, and in a way he did not yet understand necessary. The days that followed did not rearrange themselves into anything dramatic. They slid into place with small shifts, like furniture nudged quietly, but often enough that the room felt different. It started with a text. Noah was wiping down the workbench when his phone buzzed. The screen showed an unknown number and a message that was careful in its wording. "This is Morgan. I would like to arrange another visit for Amelia if you are still open to that." He stared at it for a long second, then typed back, "We would like that." After a pause, another message appeared. "Saturday afternoon, 2 hours this time. I can bring her and stay nearby." He thought of Lily, who had asked about Amelia 3 times that morning alone. "Saturday works," he wrote. Lily whooped when he told her. "I knew she would come back," she said. "We did not even finish discussing the snack pulley." Saturday arrived with a thin drizzle, the kind that never fully committed to being rain, but soaked everything anyway. Amelia showed up at the front door in a yellow raincoat hood, down hair curling at the edges. Morgan stood behind her on the porch, umbrella in hand. "I will be at the coffee shop on the corner," Morgan said. "If anything happens, you can call, or text, or send up a flare." "I think we can manage 2 kids and some lumber," Noah said, "but I will let you know if the pirates attack." Amelia gave her mother a quick hug, then stepped inside. Her eyes had that same scanning quality as before, but there was less wariness this time, more anticipation. "Hi," she said. Lily barreled in from the kitchen, socks sliding. "You are here," she said. "We started without you, but only a little. Dad said we had to wait for you to pick the paint for the inside walls because you have opinions." "I do have opinions," Amelia said. They disappeared into the yard again, voices rising through the damp air. Noah watched from the base of the tree as the 2 girls argued about the merits of teal versus sky blue. Amelia advocated for a lighter color to maximize perceived space. Lily said teal was more magical. They compromised on blue ceiling, teal corners. Nora did not come this time. When the 2 hours were almost up, Morgan texted, "Running 10 minutes late. Is that all right?" He replied that it was fine. The girls were inside now, sprawled on the living room rug with markers. Lily drew wild tree lines and lopsided clouds. Amelia added meticulous little details, tiny birds and leaves that actually looked like leaves. At the door, Morgan stayed only long enough to step inside and see where they were. "Girls' shoes," she called. "Time." "Already," Lily said. "We just started the 2nd floor," Amelia added. "There is no 2nd floor," Noah said. "Not with that attitude," Lily replied. They left with paint smears on their wrists and socks that had picked up half the backyard. Morgan noticed the dirt, opened her mouth, then closed it again. "Thank you," she said to Noah, "for today." He shrugged, but the gratitude landed somewhere in him. This pattern repeated. Sometimes Nora did the drop-off and pick up posture stiff and eyes sharp, though even she began to soften as the visits piled up without incident. Other times Morgan came herself and lingered on the porch, accepting a mug of coffee she had not asked for. The treehouse grew. Boards were added and sanded. Rails went up. A crude but functional ladder took shape. The pulley system for snacks became a series of prototypes that collapsed gently before finally working. Noah let the girls figure that part out with only minimal interference. The space shaped itself around their laughter. It began to feel less like a project and more like a room that had always been waiting in the air above the yard. On a Friday night, Amelia slept over for the first time. The idea had belonged to Lily, who presented it as if it were already decided. "Her house is boring," she said in the kitchen where Noah was scraping burnt cheese off a pan. "She needs to experience the full pizza and movie night package." "We have never even had a full package," Noah said. "We will invent it," she said. "Please, she can sleep in my room, or we can sleep in the living room, or on the ceiling. I am flexible." He had expected Morgan to say no. When he texted, his message came out tentative. Lily wants a sleepover. I know that is a lot. No pressure. The answer took longer this time. Nora will drop Amelia at 5 and pick her up at 10 tomorrow morning. She can bring her violin. She practices daily. He relayed the terms. Lily groaned about the violin, then immediately started drawing a schedule on the whiteboard on the fridge. We can practice in the treehouse, she said. Acoustics. The sleepover was mostly fine. They made personal pizzas with toppings sliding off the edges. Amelia picked every black olive off hers and lined them up in precise rows on her plate like little stones. Lily ate hers with the abandon of someone who trusted food to always be there. They watched a movie about a dragon that refused to be fierce. Halfway through, Amelia's head tipped onto Lily's shoulder. At bedtime, they decided on the living room. They dragged blankets and pillows out, building a nest on the floor. Noah hovered in the doorway, feeling both too necessary and not necessary at all. You good? He asked. Good, Lily said. We will probably not stay up all night. We definitely will, Amelia corrected. Lights in 15, he said. That is non-negotiable. It was closer to 30 before the apartment settled. He turned off the lamp and left the glow from the hall. He had almost drifted off in his own bed when the sound reached him. A small, sharp cry cut off in the middle. Then another. He was on his feet before he was fully awake. In the living room, Amelia was sitting up in the nest of blankets, breathing fast. Her hair stuck to her forehead. Lily was still half asleep beside her, blinking. Hey, Noah said softly. It is okay. You are okay. Amelia looked around, eyes wide as if she had forgotten where she was. It was loud, she said. There were sirens. I could not find the door. Her voice shook. Tears stood at the corners of her eyes, held back by sheer will. It was a dream, he said. You are here. No sirens. Just the fridge making weird noises. The fridge hummed obligingly in the kitchen. She wiped at her eyes with the back of her hand, almost angry at the wetness. I do not usually have them when I am not home, she said. I am sorry. You do not have to be sorry for dreams, he said. What you need to do is breathe. He sat on the edge of the coffee table and showed her slow inhale, slow exhale. Lily rolled closer and draped an arm across Amelia's knees as if anchoring her. They breathed together. After a few rounds, Amelia's shoulders dropped a fraction. Better, he asked. She nodded, not trusting her voice. Do you want your mom? He asked. I can call her. Amelia shook her head quickly. She will think I cannot handle things, she said. He thought of Morgan in the study, admitting all the ways she had tried to handle everything alone. I think she already knows you handle a lot, he said. One nightmare will not change that. Amelia sniffed. Can you just sit for a minute, she asked. Maybe skip the nagu, then be seen. Sure, he said. He stayed until their breathing evened again. Lily fell back asleep, first hand still resting on Amelia's blanket. Amelia's eyes stayed open a little longer, fixed on a crack in the ceiling. When he finally stood to go, she spoke without looking at him. You sound like the man in the story, she said. He froze. What man, he asked. The one Mom talks about when we look at her tattoo, she said. She says he used to tell her to breathe when things got loud. She says he builds things when he cannot fix people. He swallowed. What do you think about that man, he asked carefully. Amelia considered. I think he is real, she said, even if she does not say his name. He did not answer. There did not seem to be a safe way to. In his own bed, sleep did not return easily. He stared at the ceiling, listening to the soft sounds from the living room. The image of Amelia sitting up in the glow from the hallway stayed with him. The next week, he and Morgan met for coffee at a small place near the hardware store. Neutral ground, as close to neutral as they could find in a city full of shared ghosts. She arrived in a coat that still looked like it belonged at the foundation, but underneath she wore a sweater he recognized from years ago, one she used to paint in. How was the sleepover? She asked, hands wrapped around her cup. Loud, he said. Messy. They built a fort and declared all adults banned. There was a nightmare. We got through it. She did not call me, Morgan said. There was a mixture of relief and worry in it. She considered it, he said, then decided you already think she is capable and did not want to mess with that. Morgan let out a breath that was almost a laugh. She worries about my perception too much, she said. You taught her too, he said. Her eyes flicked up sharp, then softened. Fair, she said. They talked logistics, schedules, the fact that Amelia's music teacher was rearranging lesson times, which would open more afternoons. The reality that Lily had soccer starting soon, which would claim Saturdays. Between the practical details, heavier things slipped in. How much do you think they already suspect? He asked. Amelia suspects everything, Morgan said. She is like a very polite bloodhound. She never lets go of a scent, she just circles it until she finds the source. He thought of Lily's comment in the truck about him getting weird. Lily noticed me dropping screws and acting strange in the store, he said. She asked if I did something to upset you. Did you? Morgan asked. He gave her a look. We cannot keep this up, he said. We are inviting them into each other's lives and waiting for them to trip over the truth alone. Morgan stared into her coffee, watching the tiny swirl on the surface. I am afraid, she said, of what happens to her picture of me when she knows the whole story. She will be angry, he said. Then she will not be, or she will be off and on. That is how it goes. And Lily, she asked. She will probably be thrilled, he said. She keeps wishing sisters into existence. He hesitated. She might be confused about why I did not know, he added. About why I did not protect Amelia sooner. I am not looking forward to that conversation either. They sat in the hum of the cafe, the hiss of the espresso machine punctuating their silence. We have to pick a day, he said. If we keep letting it float, it will never feel like the right time. She winced. You sound like my therapist, she said. You have a therapist, he said. That is good. Maybe we should bring her in. Mediate. The girls would eat her alive, Morgan said. She fell quiet again, lips pressing together. Saturday, she said finally. At your house. Afternoon. They know it already. It is familiar. He nodded. We keep it small, he said. Just us and them. No Nora, no extended family. She exhaled through her nose. And we are honest, he added. Not brutally, not with every adult detail, but we say what we did. We do not blame each other in front of them. We let them ask questions. Morgan lifted her cup to her mouth, then set it back down without drinking. I have spent 9 years building a story, she said. Now I have to take it apart in front of my child. We built the story together, he said, in different ways. We can take it apart together, too. She looked at him, then really looked, and something in her expression loosened. Not forgiveness, not yet, but a kind of agreement. Saturday, she said again, more like she was convincing herself than confirming with him. That evening in his own kitchen, Noah stood at the stove stirring sauce. Lily sat at the table with a math worksheet, erasing hard enough to tear the paper. Stop bullying the numbers, he said. They deserve it, she replied. Fractions are rude. He watched her for a moment, the way her brow furrowed in frustration. Can I ask you something, he said. She looked up cautious. Is this about chores because I did the dishes yesterday, and that should count for today also, she said. It is not about chores, he said. It is about secrets. Her expression shifted. She set the pencil down. What about them, she asked. How do you feel when someone keeps something important from you, he said, to try to protect you? She scrunched her nose. Like when Aunt Carla did not tell me she broke my robot until I found it in the closet, she said. That is one example, he said. Sure. I hate it, she said. It feels heavy, like I am walking around and there is something in the air that I cannot see, but it still bumps into me. He stirred the sauce, letting her words settle in. So you think it is better to know, he said, even if it is hard. She shrugged, but her eyes were serious. If it is already happening, knowing does not make it worse, she said. It just means I'm not the only one being clueless. He almost laughed at the phrasing. You are very wise for someone who cannot do fractions, he said. Fractions are fake, she said. Feelings are real. He turned away so she would not see the way his mouth trembled. Noted, he said. Saturday circled closer on the calendar, not with big red marks, but in small ways. The swing of the week, the way the weather report mentioned clear skies, the messages from Morgan confirming time. On Friday night, after Lily had fallen asleep with a book on her chest, Noah stood in the doorway for a long moment. Her room was cluttered and alive. Socks and markers, posters and stuffed animals leaning in a pile. It smelled like crayons and shampoo. He thought of Amelia's room, which he had only seen in the background of a shaky video. White walls, neat shelves, a single stuffed rabbit on the pillow. It had looked more curated, more careful. He went back to the kitchen and wiped down the table, even though it was already clean. The hum of the fridge sounded too loud. His phone buzzed on the counter. A message from Morgan. We are still on for tomorrow. I am terrified. He stared at the words, then typed back. Me too. He looked at that, then added. They deserve the truth. After a moment, the little typing dots appeared. They do, she wrote. See you at 1. Saturday came bright and clear, as if the city had been scrubbed overnight. Sunlight slid over the roof lines and caught the wet edges of the street, leaving everything shining. Noah woke before his alarm again. For a few minutes he lay still listening. The house sounded the same. Fridge, pipes, a crow outside making its opinion of the world known. Nothing in the air suggested that this day would be different from any other. His chest knew better. He put coffee on and started breakfast, hands moving, while his mind tripped over itself. Eggs, toast, fruit. The familiar motions kept his breathing even. Lily wandered in wearing mismatched hawks and a t-shirt with a dinosaur on a skateboard. "Big day," she said, climbing onto a chair. "We finished the ladder today, right?" "We might," he said. "We will," she said. "I have faith." He watched her pour syrup until it nearly overflowed the pancakes. She ate in quick bites, humming under her breath. He wanted to freeze her like that for a moment before anything shifted. "What time is Amelia coming?" she asked. "1," he said. "She and Morgan are coming together." "Can we show them the new pulley bucket?" Lily asked. "The one that does not dump snacks on your head." "Yes," he said. "We can." After breakfast, he tidied the living room. It gave his hands something to do. He stacked magazines, straightened the rug, set the pillows back on the couch. He picked up one of Lily's drawings from the coffee table. It showed two girls in a treehouse. One had curls, one had straight hair. They both had smiles that took up half their faces. On the trunk of the tree in wobbly letters, Lily had written, "Keep going." He did not remember her seeing the words on his wrist closely enough to copy them. The coincidence made his throat tight. At 11:30, he realized he was cleaning the same spot on the counter for the third time. He set the sponge down and forced himself to step outside. The treehouse looked almost finished from the yard. The platform was solid. Railings ran around three sides. The ladder rungs were evenly spaced, at least by eye. There were still rough edges, nameless things yet to be added. It felt right for the day. He sat on the back steps and let the sun sit on his face for a while. A light breeze moved through the cedar, bringing the soft whisper of needles. Inside, Lily was in her room, picking out clothes for the third time. She settled on overalls with paint on the knees and a hoodie that said, "Science is cool," in large plea-filled letters. Her hair ended up in two uneven braids. At 12:59, the doorbell rang. Lily sprinted down the hall. "I have got it," she called. Noah intercepted her with a look. "Together," he said. They opened the door as a unit. Morgan stood on the porch in a green sweater and dark jeans. Her hands were empty. No briefcase, no files. Amelia was next to her in a blue dress with leggings under it, sneakers on her feet. Her hair was pulled back in a ponytail that already had loose strands escaping. "Hi," Amelia said. "We brought ourselves." Morgan's mouth tilted at the corner. "Hi," Noah said. "Come in." The air shifted as they stepped inside. Lily barely waited for the door to close before grabbing Amelia's hand. "We have to show you the bucket," she said. "It works now. Mostly. We tested it with apples and only dropped them twice. We are going to give the ladder one more test before Dad calls it safe," she added. "I feel honored," Amelia said. "Shoes off," Morgan reminded her. Amelia kicked them off neatly. Lily's sneakers were already a pile a few feet away, toes pointing in different directions. Noah caught Morgan's gaze. "Treehouse first," he said quietly. "Then lunch. Then we talk." She nodded, a small quick movement. Outside, the girls scampered toward the tree. Amelia's stride had more ease in it now, like the yard recognized her, and she recognized it back. They climbed, voices overlapping. The pulley squeaked as they tested it with a plastic container full of crackers. It went up, then back down to Lily's delight and Amelia's analytical approval. Noah and Morgan stayed on the ground. They watched small sneakers pace the platform. "How are you?" he asked, eyes still on the tree. "I have aged 10 years since last night," she said. He huffed a breath that was almost a laugh. "Same," he said. He glanced at his watch. "Give them a little while," he said. "Let them burn off some of the chatter." "And then we put new chatter in their heads," she said. "That is one way to put it," he said. They went back inside and set out lunch. Simple things. Sandwich fixings, chips, carrot sticks that Lily would ignore. Morgan helped assemble plates, Anne's moving with the efficiency of someone used to meetings, not play dates. There was a brittle quiet between them that was not quite tension. A thump from outside, followed by giggles, signaled that the girls had come down. A moment later, the back door opened. "Food," Lily said, as if she had not eaten in days. "It smells good," Amelia added. They crowded around the table. For a few minutes, the only sounds were chewing and the occasional crunch. "Did you know Lily puts potato chips inside her sandwich?" Amelia asked. "Highly recommended," Lily said. "Crunch level 10. Morgan watched them with an expression that mixed wonder and grief. She seemed to be cataloging every bite. When the plates were mostly empty and the initial hunger had faded, Noah caught Morgan's eye. She nodded. "Girls," he said, "can you come into the living room for a minute? We need to talk about something important." Lily's head lifted. Her eyes narrowed slightly. "Are we in trouble?" she asked. "No," he said. "You are not in trouble." "Is someone sick?" Amelia asked. "No," Morgan said quickly. "No one is sick." They went to the living room. The afternoon light fell in bars across the rug. The couch looked both too small and too big. The girls sat close together, shoulders touching. Noah and Morgan took the chairs opposite. The arrangement made it feel too much like an interview. He shifted to the edge of his seat to lessen the distance. Lily looked from one adult to the other. You are both making the serious face, she said. I do not like the serious face. This is serious, Noah said. But it is not bad. Do you understand the difference? She shrugged one shoulder. Maybe, she said. He glanced at Morgan, then back at the girls. You know how grown-ups sometimes make mistakes, he began. Big ones. Not just burning the garlic or forgetting to sign a permission slip. Lily nodded slowly. Amelia's eyes stayed fixed on his face. When I was younger, he said, before I met your mom, Lil, I knew Morgan. We were very close. We loved each other, and then life got complicated, and we went in different directions. Lily's mouth made a small O. Like a breakup, she said. Like that, he said. We stopped talking even though that was not what we wanted at the beginning. He drew a breath. After that, I met your mom, he said to Lily. We built a life. We had you. You know that part. She nodded, eyes shining a little. What I did not know, he said, turning his attention to Amelia, was that when Morgan left, she was pregnant. The word hung in the air for a beat. Pregnant, Lily repeated. With a baby, Amelia said softly. Noah's hands curled on his knees. I did not know, he said. Morgan did not tell me. She thought she was doing what was best, even if we see things differently about that now. His gaze met Morgan's. She took over, voice barely above a normal tone. When you were born, Amelia, she said, I was alone in New York. I was scared. I was also very stubborn. I told myself I could handle everything without help. I told myself that telling Noah would blow up his life and yours. She swallowed. I told you a story instead, she said, about a man who built things and had kind hands. I left his name out because I was ashamed of the choices I had made. That man was not imaginary. I did not make him up. He is very real. Amelia had not blinked in several seconds. Is it him, she asked? Is it Noah? The way she said his name made his chest ache. No, Mr. No last name. Just the sound carefully placed. Morgan nodded once. Yes, she said. Noah is the man from the stories. Amelia's eyes turned back to him. So much hope lived there that he felt pinned by it. And he is more than that, Morgan said. He is your father. The word landed in the room like something solid. Amelia did not react at first. The line of her mouth wobbled, then steadied. Her hand found Lily's without looking. Her fingers threaded through. You are my dad, she said, almost whispering. Noah's throat was too tight to answer right away. He nodded, slow and deliberate. Yes, he said. I am your dad. I did not know. I should have known. I wish I had known. But I know now, and I am not going anywhere. Her breath hitched. Tears slipped over her lower lashes and down her cheeks, quick and hot. She wiped at them impatiently. I knew it, she said. When I saw the hummingbird, I knew. I did not say it out loud because it felt stupid, but I knew. Lily looked from Amelia to Noah, her face working through the puzzle. Wait, she said. If she is your daughter and I am your daughter, then that means... She turned back to Amelia, eyes wide. You are my worst sister, she said. The words seemed to jump between them, bright and unbelievable. Half-sister Amelia began automatically the way people say things they have heard before. No, Lily said, fierce. Full sister, brain sister, treehouse sister, snack sister, all the sisters. A choked laugh escaped Noah. Morgan let out a breath that sounded like she had been holding it for years. Amelia stared at Lily. I have a sister, she said. It came out like a discovery and a claim. Her control cracked. She let go of Lily's hand and crossed the small space to Noah in 2 quick steps. Can I? She started, then stopped, unsure how to finish. He opened his arms. That was all it took. She practically fell into him, small body colliding with his chest. He wrapped his arms around her and felt how solid and fragile she was at the same time. Her shoulders shook. Her fingers twisted in his shirt like she was afraid he might slip away if she did not hold tight enough. He felt Lily press into his side a second later, wedging herself under his arm on the other side. Group hug, she announced, voice thick. He laughed, and the sound was broken, but it was real. Morgan watched from her chair, one hand over her mouth, tears tracking silently down her face. After a moment, Noah lifted his gaze to hers. Come here, he said. She hesitated only a second before getting up and kneeling next to them. The girl's arms opened without question to make space for her. For a few long breaths they were a tangle. Arms and hair and heat. His daughters were pressed against him. The woman he had loved and lost and found again in this new, complicated shape was at his shoulder. The room that had felt too big for years suddenly felt exactly full. Eventually bodies shifted, noses were wiped. Someone sniffled loud enough to make Lily giggle. Okay, Lily said, drawing in a breath. Now I have questions. There will be questions, Noah said. That is good. We will answer as many as we can. She pointed between the adults. Why did you not tell him, she asked Morgan bluntly. You could have called. Phones existed. I know, Morgan said. She folded her hands in her lap, shoulders straight. I was afraid. I thought I was protecting people. I was wrong about some of that. I am really, really sorry, especially to you two. Her voice wobbled on the last word. She cleared her throat. Amelia turned toward her. How long have you been lying? She asked. There was no anger yet, just shock. Morgan flinched at the word, but did not dodge it. Since before you were born, she said. I lied by leaving him out. I told myself I had good reasons. That does not make it not a lie. Amelia's mouth pressed into a thin line. I am mad, she said, and also happy. It is confusing. That makes sense, Noah said. You are allowed to be both. You are allowed to stay mad for a while. Or forever. We will still be here. Lily studied him. Are you mad at her? She asked, tipping her head toward Morgan. Yes, he said. And no, it is confusing. You two are very confusing, Lily said. But I guess you are also very old, so that tracks. Morgan laughed a surprised wet sound. Amelia swiped at her eyes again. Can I call you Dad? She asked Noah, the word cautious this time. Or is that weird? Or rule-breaking? Or something? If you want to, he said. I would like that. She nodded as if making a careful decision. Okay, she said. Dad. The second time she said it, she did not whisper. Lily grinned. This is so cool, she said. I do not even know what to do with my hands. Maybe do not throw anything, Noah said. How much time do we get together? Amelia asked next. Is this just weekends? Or can I come after school? Or will there be charts? Mom likes charts. There will probably be some charts, Morgan admitted. We are going to talk to some grown-ups who handle paperwork, Noah said. We are going to make sure that officially, legally, in every way I am on your forms. Your school papers, your doctor stuff, all of that. It will not change that I am your dad right now. It will just catch up on the paperwork. Amelia nodded slowly. Good, she said. I hate forms that have blank spaces where they should not. Lily squeezed her hand. We can share him, she said. I am good at sharing, except fries. Fries are hard. We can work out a fry schedule, Amelia said. The jokes landed soft and shaky. Underneath them, Noah felt the shift. Something had been said that could not be unsaid. The shape of the room had changed. After a while, they all needed air. Lily dragged Amelia to her room to show her a tower of books and the glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. Their voices floated down the hall. In the quiet that followed, Noah and Morgan found themselves back on the chairs facing each other again. This time, there was no script left to recite. Most of the lines had been spoken. You did well, Noah said. So did you, she replied. He rubbed his thumb over the hummingbird on his wrist. They will come back with more questions, he said. Of course, she said. They are ours. They never let anything go. He looked toward the hall where the sound of the girls' laughter rose and fell like waves. For the first time in a long while, the sound did not echo off any empty corners. Life did not fall neatly into place after the living room conversation. It moved in fits and starts, jerks and pauses, like a truck stuck in low gear on a hill. The next week, Amelia insisted on riding in Noah's truck after school, instead of going straight home with Nora. She can pick me up from your house, Amelia said. Backpack already slung over one shoulder. We have treehouse work to supervise. Nora looked at Noah, then at Morgan, who had come to the school that day to smooth the new routine. Mrs. Hale, Nora said, are you comfortable with that arrangement? Morgan's jaw set for a moment. She looked at Amelia, at the way her hand curled in the strap of the backpack knuckles white. I am, she said, for today. We will talk more about schedules later. Amelia exhaled. Her shoulders dropped half an inch. Lily arrived a moment later, hair escaping its braid shoelaces half undone. You get to come in the truck again, she said to Amelia. We can argue about the radio. Dad listens to old music. It is not that old, Noah said. They argued about stations all the way home. The sound of their complaints threaded through the cab in a way that made the silence of other days feel like something from a different life. A few nights later, Noah sat at a polished table under recessed lighting in a downtown office that smelled faintly of lemon cleaner and old paper. A framed law degree hung on the wall behind the woman who sat opposite him and Morgan. Her nameplate read Karen Liu Amelie Law. Karen adjusted her glasses and flipped to a fresh page in her legal pad. So she said we are not here for a fight. No, Morgan Sukuk. We are not. We are here to formalize what is already happening, Noah added. Karen nodded. That is a good starting point, she said. The court likes agreements between parents. It shows you are functioning. The word parents tugged at something behind Noah's ribs. They went through the basics. Paternity already confirmed by timelines, and by both of them would be made legal with a signed acknowledgement and a court order. Custody would be shared. Amelia would continue to live primarily with Morgan, go to her same school, attend her same lessons. Noah would have regular parenting time, afternoons, weekends, holidays to be negotiated. Do you anticipate any objections from extended family? Karen asked. None that matter, Morgan said. The Foundation's board already knows she exists. They do not get a vote on her relationships. Karen wrote that down. When the lawyer stepped out to make copies, Noah looked at Morgan. I expected this to feel more like battle, he said. So far it is just paperwork. Battle can come later if we behave badly, she said. Let us not test it. He smiled despite the tension. Outside the building, the air felt sharper. Cars slid by, headlights streaking. The city buzzed in a way that did not reach their small neighborhood. Did you tell Amelia about the appointment, he asked. Yes, Morgan said. She asked if it meant she would have to change her name. What did you say? I told her she could decide what to do with her name when she is ready, Morgan said. I told her this is about adding you to forms, not erasing anything. She okay with that, he asked. She asked if she could put your name on her emergency contact list at school, Morgan said. She seemed very satisfied with that part. The next week, Noah found himself in the school office signing forms, while a secretary with cat glasses peered over the counter. So you are Amelia's father, she said, looking from the form to his face. Yes, he said. Her eyes softened. She is a very bright girl, the woman said, and very serious. It is nice to put another name and face with the file. He walked out of the office with his own copy of the updated contact sheet. His name sat there in black ink. Father, phone number, address. The word looked both ordinary and enormous. At home, he tucked the paper into a folder marked Important Stuff, and then took it out again to look at it one more time. On a wet Tuesday, an envelope came in the mail addressed to him in official type, the court order recognizing him as Amelia's legal father. He sat at the kitchen table, Lily's math homework pushed to one side, and read every line. Lily came in halfway through, apple in hand. What is that, she asked. A piece of paper that says Amelia is definitely my kid, he said. Legally, officially, in case anyone was confused. She grinned. The law finally caught up with my brain, she said. He taped a copy inside the cupboard with Anna's recipe card. It felt like the right spot between sauce instructions and an old grocery list. Money came up next. Not because anyone asked, but because Noah could not stop thinking about the 9-year head start Amelia did not have from him. He finished a big job for a family in Queen Anne, a custom dining set that had taken weeks of late nights. The check sat in his hand longer than it should have. It was more money in one go than he usually saw. At the bank, the woman at the desk asked what he wanted to do with it. 2 accounts, he said. College funds. 1 for each of my daughters. The word daughters made him stumble a little. He did not correct it. Existing accounts, she asked, or new ones? 1 is existing, he said. For Lily Reyes. He spelled it. The other is new, for Amelia Hale. The banker's eyebrows lifted slightly, but she did not comment. She typed printed highlighted. He signed where she pointed. When he left, he had 2 small folders in his hand instead of 1. On the drive home, he glanced at them on the passenger seat as if they might vanish while the truck bounced over potholes. That night, he told the girls. So now you both have college money, Lily said. Equal. Equal for now, he said. We will keep adding. Amelia tilted her head. You do not know what we will be in 9 years, she said. College might not be the thing. It might not, he said. The money will be there anyway, for whatever helps you move forward. They were sprawled on the living room rug, a board game forgotten between them. Lily nodded thoughtfully, then flicked a game piece across the board. I am going to be an astronaut artist, she said. So, college is definitely involved. Amelia considered. Maybe I will run the foundation, she said, and burn it down and start over. Is that an option? Noah glanced at Morgan, who sat in the chair with a book open on her lap, not reading. It is an option, Morgan said. Not literally. Please do not burn anything. But rethinking is allowed. As plans solidified in meetings and on paper, the more chaotic work happened in smaller moments. The first fight between the girls came over something stupid, as first fights often do. They were in the treehouse arguing over which corner would be the official reading nook. Voices rose, a thud, a yelp, a scramble down the ladder. She pushed me, Lily said, landing in the yard with her cheeks flushed. She was hogging the good corner, Amelia said, climbing down more carefully. And she never shares the teal blanket. Noah sat on the back steps watching them. Treehouse rule, he said. Nobody pushes. Also, there is no good corner. The whole thing is corners. She likes that one, Amelia said, pointing. It has the best view. Because I found it first, Lily retorted. The argument had the same tone as the ones he remembered with his own sister, a mix of outrage and a desire to be seen. You can take turns, he said. Use a timer if you have to. Or you can decide that the blanket goes somewhere else entirely. But no one gets to push. They glared at each other for another second, then both huffed and stomped back up the ladder. Later he saw the teal blanket spread dead center on the floor, both of them sitting on it, backs touching. At Morgan's house, change took a different shape. One afternoon, Noah stopped by the new gallery she had opened in a converted warehouse down the block from his workshop. The space was smaller than the Foundation's main gallery in the city. The walls were painted a soft white, the concrete floor polished but not glossy. Sunlight pooled near the front windows. On the walls hung a series of paintings, small canvases each with a hummingbird. No two birds were exactly alike. Some hovered near flowers, some were mid-turn, almost a blur. In a few the bird was just implied by negative space, the shape carved out of color. These are yours, he said quietly. Morgan stood a few feet away, arms folded loosely. Yes, she said. I painted them at night for years, kept them in a storage unit because I did not know what to do with them. He looked at her, and now he asked. Now they live where people can see them, she said. It seemed hypocritical to keep the truth on a wall and hide these in the dark. He walked closer to one canvas. The bird in it had wings spread wide, a streak of bright teal along its throat. The background was not sky, but a wash of colors that suggested movement. It felt like watching a heartbeat. Amelia likes that one, Morgan said. She says it looks like it is about to fly into another room. Lily would try to name it, he said. She names everything. You should not encourage her. He turned away before his eyes did anything embarrassing. Dinners started to happen awkward at first, then less so. Sometimes they were at Noah's house. Sometimes at Morgan's, where the table was longer and the plates matched. The girls rolled their eyes in unison when the adults tried to talk about work. They groaned when anyone suggested vegetables. They ganged up on Noah about his taste in movies and on Morgan about her insistence on coasters. One night, Amelia asked, "What were you two like when you were my age?" Noah and Morgan looked at each other across the table. I was annoying, he said.
You still are, Morgan. Morgan sa sirim den narmushini indesibu salay to.
I like to build things, he added. Tree forts in my grandmother's yard. Skateboard ramps that never met any safety codes. I drew on every surface I could find, Morgan said. My mother said I was a vandal. My art teacher said I was promising. I chose to listen to the art teacher. Amelia listened, chin in hand. Lily grinned. I wish I could see you then, Lily said. Diezi Hasid, baby dad, baby Morgan. I was never a baby, Morgan said. I was born 30. Checks out, Noah said. Later, after dishes were washed and girls were occupied with homework, he and Morgan stood in the kitchen at his place. The room felt smaller with her in it, but not in a bad way, just more filled. Do you ever feel like we are getting away with something? She asked, leaning against the counter. How so? He said. Like we took a story that should have fallen apart and somehow kept it going, she said. On duct tape and apologies. He thought about it. I feel like we ran into a wall and then decided to build a door in it, he said. Some days the door sticks, some days it opens fine. She looked toward the hallway where the girls' voices floated. Do you think they are okay? She asked. Really okay. They are fighting about whose turn it is to use the good markers, he said. That feels like a pretty normal level of okay. She relaxed a little at that. The months stacked up. School days, weekends, violin recitals where Amelia scanned the audience until she found Noah and Lily in the second row. Soccer games where Lily ran in a clump of kids while Amelia sat on the sideline with a book glancing up every time someone shouted her sister's name. There were hard days. Days when Amelia refused to speak to Morgan for hours at a time and then cried herself out in Noah's kitchen. Days when Lily asked why no one had told her she had a sister earlier, her voice small and hurt. Days when schedules clashed and everyone ended up exhausted. There were good days too. The girls invented a handshake that took almost a full minute to complete. They wrote a list of house rules for the treehouse in colored marker and taped it to the wall. Rule number 1, no lying. Rule number 2, no adults unless invited. Rule number 3, snacks are shared equally unless someone is having a very bad day. Noah looked at that list once when he was alone up there, sweeping out leaves. The first rule made his chest ache in a way that felt like healing and hurting at the same time. The treehouse became the center of their strange little orbit. It was where Lily went when she wanted quiet, where Amelia retreated with a book, where both of them shouted at each other from opposite corners and then met in the middle. And somewhere in the middle of all that, without fanfare, they stopped saying your house and my house and started saying our house and dad's and mom's, like those words had always belonged to all of them. On a mild evening at the edge of summer, the treehouse finally felt finished. It had taken longer than Noah expected. Work got busy, schedules tangled. The weather refused to cooperate half the time. But board by board, under small hands and bigger ones, the thing had grown into itself. The ladder was solid now, rung smooth by sandpaper and bare feet. The railing wrapped all the way around. Inside, narrow shelves held a row of books, a flashlight, a deck of cards missing 2 queens. A milk crate near the wall served as a table. Above it, taped to the plywood, the house rules stood in bright marker. No lying, no adults unless invited. Snacks are shared equally unless someone is having a very bad day. Next to the rules in teal paint, a hummingbird hovered. Its wings were thick strokes, not delicate, and its beak was a little crooked, but the shape was clear. Lily had done the outline. Amelia had added the small details. A little halo of blue surrounded it like motion. On another beam, carved into the grain with a pocket knife, and traced later in darker stain, someone had written Lily and Amelia. Keep going. The day they declared it officially done, the girls brought sleeping bags and pillows up, along with a stuffed rabbit and a dinosaur with a torn left arm. They strung fairy lights along the ceiling, the kind that ran on batteries and glowed pale gold as the sun went down. Noah stood in the yard with his hands in his pockets and watched them set up camp. Their voices drifted down in a mixture of commands and laughs. The cedar branches shifted in a gentle breeze. He felt Morgan step up beside him before she spoke. The space between them had become familiar. Not romantic, not simply friendly, but something that had layers. They are serious about this sleepover, she said. They completed the checklist, he said. Pillows, snacks, flashlights, emergency plan in case of raccoons. Raccoons, she said. They read an article, he replied. They have plans for everything now. The fairy lights clicked on, outlining the small structure in a soft glow. Through the open doorway, he could see Lily and Amelia unrolling sleeping bags, bumping shoulders, and complaining about who snored. Dad snores, Lily said loudly. Allegedly, he called back. Amelia laughed, the sounds spilling out into the yard. Nora had objected to the treehouse sleepover the first time they proposed it. It took 3 separate conversations and 1 inspection of the ladder bolts before she agreed with conditions. Phones nearby, windows open, adults within shouting distance. Now, with dusk settling, the whole scene felt strangely peaceful. No tension in the air, no edge, just 2 kids, a wooden box and a tree, and the steady background chorus of a neighborhood winding down. Morgan sat on the back steps. She had a beer in one hand, condensation dampening her fingers. Noah joined her, the old boards under them creaking slightly. Do you remember the first time we talked about a treehouse, he asked. In college, she said. You said you were going to build one for your kids, even if you had to rent a tree. He nodded. You told me you were going to live in a loft over a gallery, he said, and eat ramen out of mugs. I did that for 3 years, she said. The loft, not the treehouse. Ramen included. He took a sip, then set the bottle between them. You ended up with something bigger, he said, nodding toward the vague direction of the Hale house. More windows. More walls, she said. More money. More everything. She looked up at the lit square in the branches. Less of this, she said. I had no idea how much less until she started coming here. He watched the treehouse too. 2 silhouettes crossed in front of the doorway. One tossed a pillow, the other ducked. Some things are small, and that is the point, he said. She smiled. You keep saying accidental wisdom, she said. It is all from the back of cereal boxes, he said. They fell quiet for a while. A car passed on the street out front. Somewhere a dog barked, then gave up. The air smelled like cut grass and the faint tang of sunscreen that lingered on the girls' jackets. I have been thinking about that night at the hardware store, Morgan said eventually. The first one. When she told you about the tattoo. So have I, he said. It feels like another lifetime, she said. And also like last week. He remembered the fluorescent hum, the echo of the box hitting the floor, the way the world had narrowed to a little girl's finger pointing at his wrist. If she had not spoken, he said we would still be orbiting each other without knowing. Or we would have run into each other another way, she said. The city is not that big. He thought about all the near misses that might have happened, lines crossing without touching. I am glad it was that way, he said, in the bright ugly lights with drills going off in the background. She huffed a laugh.
Very on brand for Cecil's from the
One of the fairy lights flickered, then steadied. A small head popped into the doorway. "Are you two going to talk all night?" Lily called. "We are trying to sleep in here." "You have not even gone horizontal yet," Noah said. "You are keeping the vibe loud," she replied. "Good night," he said. "Good night," Amelia added from somewhere south. "Ominish sambestis to Good night," Morgan called. The head disappeared. The girls' whispers continued for a while, softer now, punctuated by the rustle of sleeping bags. Morgan drew her knees up, resting her chin on them. "Do you ever think about the other versions?" she asked. "The ones where I called you back then. The ones where you ended up in New York." "Sometimes," he said, "less than before." "What do they look like?" she asked. "Messier," he said. "In my head, at least. You and me in a walk-up with a cranky landlord. Me trying to make furniture out of whatever scraps I could find. You painting in the bathtub. Fighting about money. Fighting about everything. Trying to bring a kid into that." She considered that, then nodded slowly. "I picture you in a suit at board meetings," she said, frowning at spreadsheets, hating it. "I would have whittled the conference table out of boredom," he said. "I know," she said. He took another drink. "I also picture Anna," he said. "Not getting sick, not dying. Lily and some other kid maybe. That is the version that hurts the most to look at for too long." She did not rush to fill the space after that. She let it sit. "I picture my father alive," she said. "Me not inheriting all of that stuff before I knew what to do with it. Him meeting Amelia, telling her about investments while she pretends to listen." The night gathered gently around them. "Somewhere in all those universes," she said, "maybe there is one where we did this part better." He watched the tree, the house, the patterns of light and shadow. "Maybe," he said, "and somewhere there is one where we did it worse." She snorted softly. "Low bar," she said. "I try to be fair," he said. They lapsed back into quiet. The fairy lights inside the treehouse dimmed slightly as the battery pack did its work. The girls' voices faded, replaced eventually by the soft, uneven pattern of sleep. Once Amelia murmured something that sounded like Dad, a word stretched thin by dreams. Lily answered with a sleepy shh and a gentle thump of her hand on the sleeping bag. Noah felt something in his chest expand at the sound. Not new exactly, more like a room finally used for what it had been built to hold. "What do you want now?" Morgan asked after a while, her voice low. He thought about the question. In the past, his answers had been big. Open a shop, fall in love, survive, grief. Now, sitting on a worn back step behind a small house with a half-finished beer and a friend who used to be something else, and 2 sleeping children overhead, the answer felt simpler. "I want to keep showing up," he said, "for all 3 of you. I want to keep building things that do not fall apart the first time the weather hits them. That is enough." She looked at him, sidelong eyes reflecting a bit of the light from the treehouse. "That sounds like a plan," she said. "It is more like a practice," he replied. The hummingbird on his wrist caught the glow from the porch light. Its small wings seemed almost to move in the shifting shadows. He rubbed a thumb over the ink. For years it had been a reminder of a narrow moment in a diner of a young version of himself who talked big about movement and flight. Later it had felt like a scar he did not know what to do with. Now, under the sound of 2 girls breathing in a wooden box above his head, it felt like part of a map. Not a straight line, but a path that had doubled back, gone off-road, somehow landed him here. In the treehouse, Amelia rolled over. Wood creaked quietly. Lily mumbled something about snacks in her sleep. The cedar branches shifted again, leaves brushing each other. The house, the tree, the lights, the people all settled into the same slow rhythm. Noah leaned back against the step, tilted his head so he could see the outline of the treehouse against the sky. The edges of the structure were a little rough. The lines were not perfectly straight. The paint job had drips. It was still standing. It held. So did they. Thank you so much for listening to today's story. If this story resonated with you or made you reflect, I'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to share them in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss the next story.